Gwanggaeto the Great, Gwanggaeto Daewang, born Go-Damdok, was the 19th king of Goguryeo. Goguryeo was one of the three kingdoms of Korea along Baekje and Silla. Gwanggaeto is known for expanding the limits of Goguryeo and being a peacemaker. Under his leadership, Goguryeo entered a golden age. It was known at the time as an empire. Gwanggaeto conquered parts of Western Manchuria, Inner Mongolia, and parts of Primorsky Krai in Russia. He defeated Baekje in 396 and captured Liaodong, present-day Seoul. He helped Silla in defeating Baekje and Wa troops from Japan. In doing so, he made Silla a protectorate of Goguryeo, basically unifying the Korean peninsula. Gwanggaeto also defeated the later Yan and took over the Liaodong peninsula, which was part of the first recorded kingdom of Korea, Gojoseon. Gwanggaeto succeeded his father Goguryeo in 391. He adopted the era name Yongnak, meaning eternal rejoicing, and took the title Taewang, which was equivalent to emperor, equal to the rulers of China. He is also known as a broad expander of domain. His capital was Gungne, in present-day Jian, in the Jilin province of China. Gwanggaeto's feats and accomplishments are forever engraved on the Gwanggaeto Stele. It was erected in 414 in Jian, along the present-day Chinese-North Korean border. The stele stands near what is thought to be his empty tomb. His son, Jangsu, ordered its construction and placement. It's made out of a single block of granite. It's 6.39 meters tall. The inscriptions on it are in Hanja. There are 1,775 characters, of which 1,590 are still recognizable. It explains how Goguryeo was founded and how it expanded its territory. The stele was found again in 1876. Followed a series of events in which Chinese and Japanese officers and scholars made some tracings of the inscriptions and published their findings. The stele has inscriptions on its four sides. The inscriptions can be divided in three parts. 1. The foundation myth of Goguryeo. 2. The military exploits of King Gwanggaeto. And 3. A list of custodians called Sumioin, who were appointed to oversee and protect the tomb. It announces regulations that apply to them as well. The first part talks about the foundation myth of Goguryeo by Jumong. It mentions King Yuri, Jumong's son, as well as King Demushin, the third son of Yuri. It then talks about Gwanggaeto being the 18th successor of Jumong. The second part is about the battles fought by Gwanggaeto. Gwanggaeto reformed the Goguryeo military into separate army, cavalry, and naval units. It is said that he led his men personally on the field. The stele mentions victories against Khitan tribes, Baekje and Wa, people from what is now Japan. In 396, Goguryeo conquered many Baekje castles. The king of Baekje surrendered and offered 1,000 individuals as prisoners and 20-kilometer length of fabrics and submitting to the authority of Goguryeo. In 398, Gwanggaeto conquered a tribe from the Sushan people. In 400, Gwanggaeto sent 50,000 soldiers to save Silla from the attack of a unified Baekje and Wa army. Later on, Gaya joined the Baekje-Wa coalition. Gwanggaeto still defeated them and Baekje submitted once more to Goguryeo. In 404, Wa invaded the southern border at Daifang. Gwanggaeto led troops to Pyongyang and defeated Hua. In 410, Eastern Buyo ceased tribute to Goguryeo. Gwanggaeto sent troops at their capital's gate. The mere sight of his army must have frightened them because they quickly resumed paying their tribute. The stele also comes with its fair share of controversies. For instance, the stele states that since the Shinmyo year of 391, the Hwa had been crossing the sea into Korea. It then goes on to mention that it subjugated the two kingdoms of Baekje and Silla. The it mentioned here is either Goguryeo or Hwa Japan. So basically, either Goguryeo or Hwa had subjugated Baekje and Silla at one time. It seems like some characters were not traced correctly, or didn't have the same meaning now that they had back then. For instance, Hwa could refer to people who lived on the Japanese islands, but can also refer to people from the Samhan Confederacy in the southern part of the Korean peninsula. Some scholars say that Imperial Japan used this as propaganda to subjugate Korea during the colonial era from 1910 to 1945. It goes without saying that the inscriptions for the Shinmyo year of 391 is a major point of contention and controversy amongst Korean, Japanese, and even Chinese historians. Gwanggaeto fought many times with the later Yan, a dynastic state ruled by the Xianbei people. It was located in modern-day northeast China during the era of 16 kingdoms in China. The later Yan lasted 25 years, from 384 to 409. In 400, they attacked Goguryeo while Gwanggaeto was busy fighting Baekje, Gaya, and Hwa to the south. They were repulsed, and 2 years later, in 402, Gwanggaeto retaliated and took over an important fortress near the capital of later Yan. In 405 and 406, later Yan attacked some Goguryeo fortresses in Liaodong, but were repelled again. This confirmed Gwanggaeto's grasps on the Liaodong Peninsula. Goguryeo controlled the Liaodong Peninsula until Tang took it over in the mid-7th century. Gwanggaeto is mostly remembered for his conquests, but he also established Buddhist temples. In 393, he built 9 temples in Pyongyang. Buddhism was introduced to Goguryeo just a couple of years earlier in 372 by a Chinese monk named Sundo. Gwanggaeto is sometimes depicted with an image of a 3-legged crow that represents the sun. Gwanggaeto died in 413 at the age of 39. We do not know what caused his death. His eldest son Jangsu ruled Goguryeo for 79 years until his death at the age of 98, which is certainly one of the longest reigns in East Asian history. Gwanggaeto conquered 64 walled cities and 1,400 villages. Following his initial conquests, Goguryeo would go on to extend even further, making it the biggest Korean kingdom ever recorded. Balhae would also go on to expand its power to vast territories, but they all owe this to Gwanggaeto. Archaeologists even found recently Goguryeo fortress ruins in present-day Mongolia, so the extent of Goguryeo's territory is still being discovered now. Gwanggaeto the Great is one of the 2 rulers in Korean history called Great. The other ruler is Sejong the Great, who invented Hangul, the Korean alphabet. Gwanggaeto is remembered as a hero that restored glory to Goguryeo and made it a major power in East Asia at the time. As a matter of fact, on his stele is written, "The country was prosperous, the people were at peace, and the 5 grains, rice, barley, millet, soybeans, and foxtail millet, were abundantly ripe." 2 notable TV series were made with Gwanggaeto as central character. Gwanggaeto the Great Conqueror, aka King Gwanggaeto the Great, and the legend. It's based on the legend of Dangun, Gwanggaeto, and 4 mythological creatures from mythology: the azure dragon, the vermilion bird, the phoenix, the white tiger, and the black tortoise, turtle snake. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and leave a comment.